also because if you've seen one Christmas Lifetime film, you've seen them all. What's going on YouTube? It's your girl Black Cherry here, back on her channel trying to make this movie review thing work. Everyone knows that Christmas starts November 1st. I know. Kristen, Thanksgiving. Yeah, there's Thanksgiving, but you generally go straight from Halloween to Christmas. And I'll be honest. For the entire month of November and what is it, December 18th? It's the middle of December. Half of December, I've been avoiding making movie reviews. I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm quite lazy. I am it's weird. I'm a perfectionist and lazy at the same time. It makes no sense. But that's the main reason. The other reason is that my only source material would have been Christmas films. Christmas films to critique that are mainly about love. I'm talking about like Hallmark and Lifetime here. And I know you could say, look, Kristen, you could probably review something else. I know. I probably could have. But since it's time to get into the holiday spirit, it would be ignorant of me to not talk about at least one Christmas film here and there. So, I've been sort of procrastinating in that department, but I finally got my act together and I decided that, okay, why not? Let me just watch a Christmas chick flick to the delight of my mother, because if anyone knows me, I absolutely despise chick flicks. Maybe not despise. Despise is a strong word. I much rather prefer the ridiculousness of an action and or horror film rather than the feigned ridiculousness of a rom-com or chick flick. So I went with it. Now, the problem is that it's been a little skosh with Christmas films lately, or I haven't been totally inspired by any Christmas chick flicks. And again, that's probably because I don't necessarily watch them, but also because if you've seen one Christmas Lifetime film, you've seen them all. So what was I gonna do? Well, luckily there's a Netflix. Netflix has stuff. And it made it easier because they didn't really have like a whole plethora of movies to watch as far as like chick flicky wise. I decided to pick something that maybe could have been on Lifetime and or Hallmark, but somehow got the special title of a Netflix original. And that's A Castle for Christmas. Now, A Castle for Christmas. If I were to put it nicely, was kind of boring. I guess coming from a person who doesn't really watch chick flicks, like what do I know? But I can honestly say that I wasn't quite sure where all these positive reviews came from. While everyone else is out here watching like A Christmas Prince and The Princess Switch, which is oddly Christmas related, I chose A Castle for Christmas because, I mean, it seemed to go along with the themes of things. for some reason, royalty and Christmas and just that's the formulaic like algorithm that you need to make a Lifetime film. So if I give a brief synopsis, A Castle for Christmas is about some book writer who goes to Ireland and buys a castle, and it comes with a duke, and they fall in love, and you know, yay. That's if you took all the like unnecessary stuff out of the film, that's basically what you come up with. But I'm gonna go into detail. I'm gonna go into detail because that's what we're here to do. We're here to review. We're here to talk about it. I am going to try to tone down my sarcasm. If I Y'all could hear this Christmas music this whole time, can you? Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. So, where was I? Ah, yes. A Castle for Christmas. The story for the ages. So for A Castle for Christmas, like I said, this is about this author named Sophie Brown. She's our main protagonist, and I don't know what it is about like love stories where like the protagonist has to be some sort of like literary connoisseur. Like, I mean, if you think about it, either they're an author, work in a publishing company, or like reading or something, a librarian, which I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's almost like this narrative that the quintessential woman needs to know how to read and write in order to find a royal prince on Christmas. Yeah, Sophie Brown, successful author, because aren't they all, is in the midst of a scandal for some reason because she killed off the handsome love interest in her main book. Now, I don't know if this is like a actual thing. Like, is it really a scandal that someone kills off a fictional character in a book? No, not really. But you need something. You need some sort of like point of contingency or some sort of reason as to why. It's basically just a jump off point, a plot point as to why this lady just goes to Ireland, which doesn't really tie in together, but it does somehow. She goes to Ireland to get away from this scandal because that's what you do. I will say that she tried to clear up the waters by going on Drew Barrymore's show, and she kind of like flips her lid.
Have dragged him behind a car. I could have poisoned him with mercury. I could have chopped him into little teeny pieces and fed him to the sharks.
A little bit. Did I say Ireland? I meant Scotland. I think it's Scotland. To clear her head and get in touch with her roots and get an inspiration for a new book. Maybe something that doesn't take up her entire life. Whatever. There she meets a quirky group of knitters that are all seem to understand. They all read her book, so she didn't really do a good job of running away from the scandal. Like, literally, she can't go anywhere without people being like, hey, you're Sophie Brown. You wrote that book. And, but I guess unlike Americans, they actually are just like, it's cool. We like reading anyway, so we didn't care if you killed off the character. It's whatever. You're cool. You're cool. We're cool. We're knitters. We're all cool here. And she quickly assimilates in this little Scottish village with these people she's staying in. She's actually staying there for like 3 months. I guess, I mean, you know what? She's apparently a very famous author, so she can do that. And I guess maybe it works for a scandal to leave your post like that. And I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going, but she's pretty much there for 3 months. She remembers the story of, I think, her grandfather who like lived in Scotland at the time and was like a servant family to some royal lineage, and they lived in Dunbar Castle there. And like he like was able to one day get in there and like kind of like halfway write his name on like a piece of the castle, and that's how he marks himself as actually being there. It's kind of a cool story when she tells it. I'm not doing it justice, but anyway, so she wants to go to Dunbar Castle to get reconnected with her grandfather and her Scottish roots. And yeah, there she meets this guy, Miles, who, unbeknownst to her at the moment, is actually like the new Duke of the castle. So he's a part of that royal bloodline that I was talking about. I don't, like I said, I'm not really quite clear about what it is with romance, Christmas, and royalty, but those are the like main ingredients to create a popular chick flick universe. Like, honestly, I should do a bit like, like for like Powerpuff Girls, you got the sugar, spice, and everything nice. Except it's the romance, Christmas, and royalty. That does not rhyme. I'll figure it out. Anyway. I'm having long pauses. I'm gonna cut that out. So anyway, she kind of actually met Miles before, in front of like the inn that she's staying at, because his dog Hamish kind of like came out of nowhere and like attacked her with kisses and stuff. And this is how you know that there's supposed to be some sort of love interest, because like he stares at her awkwardly long because Hamish like pushed her, the dog pushed her into Miles, and they kind of just like stare at each other like, wow, another human. Like it was kind of, it was sort of creepy. It was sort of creepy, but dogs are a good judge of character. Clue number one: dog like Sophie. So she goes to the castle where he's at and sees him there again. And I think at that time, like the tour, the castle has tours itself to like make money, but the tours are coming to an end, and she kind of comes at the last part of it, and she's just like, well, can I please have a tour? Like, clearly, no, you can't have a look around. The tours are over. Come back tomorrow. But she insists, and she's the main protagonist, so she has that main character armor, so she kind of gets her way. Except she gets a tour from Miles. He's so gracious, so attentive for some reason to her. Again, we get that brooding stare at her as she like rides her bike, and he's just enamored. I'm not quite sure, but he's just like, yeah, I'll give you a tour of this house. He doesn't mention that he's the owner of this house or like the Duke or anything. He's just like, yeah, I'll give you a tour. It's whatever. And so they walk around the house. Castle. I'm saying house like it's just like a regular 2-story with 3 baths and 4 bedrooms or something like that. No, like it's like got like 14 rooms and stuff. Anyway, they're walking around, and she like, or Miles has to go and like take care of some business or something, leaves her alone and tells her not to go anywhere that he doesn't say to, just kind of like wait there. But she doesn't listen. She goes and looks around, and she finds the door with her grandpa's name on it. McGinty. Yeah, there we go. But it's not completely done, because I mean, he got caught when he was a boy, so he never finished it. But she knows this is her grandfather, and she takes a picture, and Miles comes looking for her, and he's just like, I told you to stay put. And she's like, yeah, but I had to go find this part of my history. And rightfully so, he kicks her out of the castle, because he's like, this is someone's house. You can't just be walking around. And she has the nerve to get mad at him about it. Like, she's just all like, I thought, she's just all like, well, you're just a bucket of sunshine and stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, I mean, you kind of took advantage of his kindness to show you around the place, and you clearly disrespected the rules. So yeah, he's kind of rightfully so to be angry. That was like their first actual interaction. I'm not quite sure why it came off so strongly that they didn't like each other. There wasn't even like a real reason, other than the fact that she like went around the house when she wasn't castle, which she wasn't supposed to. But I guess from there the animosity lingers. We do get like this snippet where we find out that the castle is actually like in some sort of foreclosure, because they can't pay for it, because Miles, like the former Duke, was a dickhead and used up all the money and left him with nothing. So he's been trying to keep the castle afloat, and he like used the villagers' money for help. They graciously gave it to him. He wasn't a dick. For some reason, like, he, despite living with his family, he never picks up the dick trait from the royal family. So he's trying to be a good guy. He's just misunderstood and brooding. Sexy, right? But yeah, the house, damn it, the castle is in like some sort of foreclosure, and he wants to sell it to somebody because they don't want it to go to the bank. Makes sense. Lucky for him, Sophie got a wild hair up her butt after seeing like her dad's like name, her grandfather's name there on the door, and it's just like, I'm gonna buy a castle. Now here's like the part where it like really ticked me off, because I'm just like, okay, she is in this scandal for killing off a character in her book, and she goes to Scotland to lay low and like get things going for her, like the creative juices flowing. I don't think buying a castle is considered laying low. Now, I don't know how much castles are for. I'm pretty sure they're pretty good price, and she's an author that makes a decent amount of money, apparently, because she's been published several times and is a best-selling author. But this is not what I consider laying low. That's that I don't give a shit money. I want that kind of money. Anyway, she is thinking about buying this castle, and then she realizes that she goes over to talk to the person who's the owner of the castle, and she realizes that, oh, it's Dickhead Miles. He's the owner of the castle, and he's just like, oh, you're the one that wants to buy my castle, you snotty American. I don't want to deal with you. She's just trying to be, professional about it, and I was just like, I'm having none of that. I don't want to deal with you. And he's kind of a dick to her, and she storms off. And then he realized that he's an idiot because she's the only one that's gonna buy the freaking castle. Like, no one else is gonna buy the castle. So she's literally his best bet, or else they're gonna give it to the bank. So he goes, finds her, doesn't really apologize for his behavior, but he's just like, I'll give you the castle for only on one condition. And that's if you stay with me for 3 months until Christmas and see how keeping up with a castle really is. And in which his ulterior motive is to actually like make her life a living hell and try to get her out before giving up the castle, which again doesn't make sense, because if she doesn't buy it, then it's going to the bank and then you're homeless anyway. So why can't you just make this work? I don't know. He has to be an asshole somehow, right? So she agrees to the whole thing, and romance is bound to start. They wanted to avoid each other, they could. It's kind of utterly forgettable. To be quite honest, it took me a while to finish this movie because it's like an hour and 45 minutes, and it's like everything and nothing at the same time. I got so bored after a while. But since if you look at it, she comes in and kind of makes things better for Miles and everyone. Like, she gets like the castle to have like a little Christmas ball like they used to, and she's like making the villagers happy. They all love her. It's just the only one that's kind of like not with it is Miles, because he's a hard ass in so many words. But they end up kind of like bonding sometimes, where he like shows the history, the other castles in Scotland and the history behind it. And you see they're trying to like build up this sort of tension between them. There's like quite several moments where like it's hilarious to look at, because that there's supposed to be some sexual tension, some chemistry. And I'm not saying that the two actors in there don't have like chemistry. I'm thinking maybe it's because of the writing or so, where I wasn't feeling anything. I was feeling no tinglies, no like, ooh, girl, he like you type thing. It was more like, what are you, 12? Like, there was like one scene that they're like really close to each other. I think they like went out and we're at the bar, and she's like, I really had a good time. And he's like, yeah, but it's not a date. And then they stare longingly at each other, like to reaffirm to themselves that this wasn't a date, that they don't have feelings for each other at all. It's so painful to look at, and I'm just like, huh? What? Just so you know, it wasn't a date. Okay, no one said it was. Miles wasn't so lucky in the female department until now. So he has to make it clear that he doesn't have feelings, even though that's like, he clearly does. And like they end up like crossing that bridge when she comes back with like this dress on, and he's just like, you shouldn't be wearing that. And she's like, I thought you liked it. And then he like kisses her, and I'm just like, oh, he really liked it. And then proceeds to they pan off into like this Christmas atmosphere with Haymitch and like the Starry Night Sky. So just so you know, they spent the night together. After that, Poist, you're assuming that they had some form of coitus, and they're all like giddy. And then we get like this montage of them like having fun in the snow and stuff. Keep in mind, I'm not sure what their goal was for this, because technically it's like Christmas Eve. It's like the day before Christmas. So she's about to get this castle. But there's like this long montage of them being happy. And then it cuts them off to like learning how to ball dance for the Christmas ball. And I don't know. She basically says like she's so happy, and she's thinking about like, hey, I know we got off to a rough start, but why don't you stay with me in my castle? Like, and he's just all like, your castle? And she's like, yeah, my castle, because I mean, it's Christmas tomorrow, so the castle's mine. He's just all like, no, you think you can just come over here and take all my stuff? You know, his ego got in the way. And throw your weight down, and then you're offering me, a duke, a place to stay in my castle. And I don't know, it's at that point that she's just like, you know what, I didn't want this dumb castle anyway, I thought we could make this work. And then she like leaves and essentially is giving up her rights to this castle. Keep in mind, she already put down like a down payment. Like, I don't know how she's going to get like her escrow back for this stupid castle. But she leaves and she's about to go home and stuff. And Miles realized that, oh, maybe I fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't be so egotistical. And first of all, shame on her. Like, I'm about to get this bag. I'm about to get this castle. You know what? You want to be a dick? I literally got one more day to deal with your ass, and then you can get out. I can go and have my castle. I was being nice, mofo, but I guess you want to be a dick. So, bye. And leave it at that. And then him being mad doesn't make any sense. Like, he's still the Duke. It's not his fault that the previous Duke used up all the money. He's still a Duke, and she's even offering you to stay in the castle with her, assuming if things go right and y'all get married, it's not like you lost the position at all. It's still technically like a castle that you own, especially if she ends up being like your, I don't know. He was not thinking long term. That is what I am. He's very impulsive. Miles is very impulsive. And it's all very stupid. Anyway, we get the whole like wrenching everything because she's about to go fly on a plane or get in the car to get on a plane to go back to America. But like a snowstorm hits and she has to stay in the inn for another day and spend Christmas there, and everyone else is gonna go to the ball, and she's like, no, I don't want to go because I don't want to see Miles in his stupid face. And Miles is just like, ah, man, I messed up. So bada bing, bada boom, he comes and rides a horse with his traditional Scottish dress on. And it's just like, hey, I'm sorry for being a jerk. And she's just like, well, I guess it's okay. And then they make up, and then they go to the ball together, and they have all this cool, happy feelings. Like, she gets to see like her daughter. I didn't even mention her daughter. She really had no, I don't know why she was in this movie. Like, her daughter didn't do anything, but things are happy and back to normal, and you know, and now she has a castle for Christmas and a duke possibly. I heard that this is supposed to be in like the same kind of universe with like a princess switch and like a Christmas prince, like those installments on Netflix. And I'm just like, oh, God, no. Are y'all gonna do like a third installment of a castle for Christmas and then bring Vanessa Hudgens and like the Christmas Prince guy and Miles and Sophie all in like the same universe to do some like royal Christmas extravaganza? I might be predicting the future. But that's essentially how the story ends, and they have and that's it. Merry Christmas. Okay. So, like I said, that's the end of the movie. I just want to talk about the parts in the movie that really just don't make sense and maybe give like just questionable motives about this entire thing. So the first thing is the blatant disregard of funds from Sophie Brown. Like I said, she went to Scotland to lay low after this whole book thing. And instead of laying low, she buys a castle. Now, like I said, I'm not quite sure how much a castle costs, but it's not a cheap endeavor. I'm pretty sure. And she doesn't even buy like one of like a castle with that's like decent. Like Dun Dun Bar, as Miles mentioned, has a lot of issues. Like it leaks. You know, the rooms don't have any AC upstairs because it's too expensive. The lights go in and out at times because electricity is spotty and Wi-Fi is like maybe in like one area of the house, like the library or something. You know, they got it, it's a bit of a service project essentially, and she wants to buy it anyway. Like I understand, like, you know, this is part of your family history, but not even really. Like your dad wrote his name on the door. I'm surprised that nobody noticed it and got it replaced in like what, maybe the 70 years that he was probably away from the castle. Like it's a grandfather. He did this when he was a kid. I would think that you wouldn't be able to find that door anyway. It'd be make much more sense if he just engraved his name in one of those brick mortar walls as the castle, although that probably would take a little bit longer and he didn't have all that time. Regardless, she's buying this castle for that reason. And I just wonder like exactly what her main motive was, because as soon as she develops feelings for Miles and he has one of his temper tantrums, she's just all like, fuck this castle, and leaves and was gonna let Miles keep it. And I'm just like, okay, do you get your money back, or do you have like a some sort of like guarantee that you get maybe part of it back? Because you spent a lot of time and money on this castle already trying to fix it up, and then now you're just gonna leave it because Miles hurt your feelings. Screw Miles. Like she's allowed him to mess with her bag because he's butthurt about not being able to keep it. But and also the impulsivity of it all is just astounding. And it kind of just makes me wonder if, like, you know, there's a bit of truth of the author with written in their books at times. You just gotta find it. There's like this one bit where, like, in the beginning, like, she flipped off on Drew Barrymore and was like talking about how she could have killed her main character. And Miles just like, oh crap, she's crazy, and like locks the door in his like room or whatever. I say keep that energy because she seems like she'd be a great asset on an episode of Snapped. You know what I'm saying? Like, but and maybe that's the real scary thing about it. Yeah. So there's that, and then there's the Duke himself, Miles. He is very conniving, and also like his mood changes just don't leave a good taste in anyone's mouth. Like I'm assuming, you know, you're supposed to think like he's sort of like the beast in the story. Like he comes off as harsh, but he actually has a good heart or something, and you know, he's not a bad dude. But I mean, think about it. The moment he saw Sophie he had like this brooding look on his face, like he wanted to eat her. And I'm supposed to think that's supposed to be sexy, but in context wise, I'm just like, this guy is a creep. And then on a flip of a dime, he despises her and does everything he can to make her life a living hell and be a jerk to get her out the house. And then the next minute they're having relations, and then the next thing he's mad at her for taking his castle. Like, he didn't agree to that. Like, he didn't make the whole contract about you have to stay with me for 3 months and then I can give you the castle type thing. And like, dude, what are you on? I'm supposed to think this is supposed to be like charming, mysterious, brooding, sexy. I don't find that at all. And I'm not saying the dude that plays Miles is like a bad actor. I don't think so. But the script certainly didn't do his acting or character any justice. Like that, it comes off very dry and almost like this guy doesn't know like real feelings. And I'm guessing we'll find later in the next movie, because there's gonna be a sequel. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to be a sequel. Going back to the whole excessive spending habit, like, because she wasn't gonna get the castle, Sophie actually proclaimed that she was going to pay off all the villagers' bills and debts for helping the castle in the first place. I don't know what kind of money she has, but this is like a small village. And I don't know, taxes are different everywhere. And she's talking about she's going to pay off all the debts of all the villagers. I have trouble believing that she could have actually done so, because just like, again, I know you're a famous author, but I mean, there is only so much link that could go into like so much money that goes into like your power reach, right? I don't know. Maybe I need to look into like J.K. Rowling's like net worth to see if like that is actually possible. A small village is actually possible to pay off the debts of a small village with the interest that probably occurs on those debts. And then, I mean, she's already lost money with the castle. It's like, she has no money. I would be surprised she had more money than that. But I don't know. Maybe she's good at stocks or something. Let me kind of like reiterate like just how fast, like they spent together in like 3 months, which is like my third thing that's kind of weird and creepy in a sense. Like, this is 3 months, and for a good part of the first two, actually almost all of the months, they did not like each other. They had like these instances of just like the weird staring and like dreamy look and like, oh, we're not dating, just to let y'all know, and stuff like that. But essentially they didn't like each other. And then with that gone, they're all of a sudden supposed to be together, and they spend Christmas together with her daughter at the end. Like, this is moving kind of fast. I think somebody's plotting. Either Miles is plotting or Sophie's plotting. That's how I would look at it. That's the end of the movie. I think that I would call this segment just kind of like horror for the heart. Because honestly, if you really like deep dive and like go into like some of the details in these movies, you're just all like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I feel like somebody's plotting. And with Sophie's like outbursts and Miles's frequent mood changes, like, this could be a whole different Lifetime movie in general. It just adds some like scary music in the background. I don't know. I see it happening. But anyway, that's the movie. That's my thoughts about it. Now, I don't want to sit here and be like, people who watch chick flicks are like ridiculous, or I just never understand chick flicks. I get why people watch chick flicks. It's the same people watch YA films. Like, it's tantalizing. My conclusion is, if you like chick flicks, you like chick flicks. If you don't like chick flicks, you don't have to watch chick flicks. It's really that simple. And I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and just completely dog Castle for Christmas. It got reviews. People liked it for a reason. So if you like it, you like it. And I'm just one person with a view on it. Um, that being said, I won't recommend or not recommend a movie. I don't feel like that's right for me to do. Go see it for yourself and come up with your own conclusions for it. If you can last like an hour and 45 minutes of just,
Actually, it's us. Not that there isn't us.
if you can stomach that, and maybe you'll like it. Yeah, I hope that you like this video. Give a like, subscribe, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All right, bye guys.